Welcome to Max Premieres. Today we're back with part 2 of our picks for the best Apple TV Plus original series that are going head-to-head with the best Netflix has to offer. From psychological thrillers to epic dramas to comedies that'll hook you from the very first episode, this list is packed with gems that many people still haven't discovered. So get comfortable, because what's coming is absolutely top-notch. But before we get started, it would really help me out if you could take a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your kind support. Number 12. Tehran. A Mossad agent of Iranian descent infiltrates Tehran under a false identity on a seemingly impossible mission to disable an Iranian nuclear reactor. Tamar Rabinian is a brilliant hacker who must navigate the shadows of a city that wants her dead, all while grappling with her own roots and a divided identity between Israel and Iran. The cat-and-mouse game between Tamar and Iranian intelligence officer Faraz Kamali is the heart of the series, and the tension never lets up for a second. What makes Tehran special is that it doesn't paint either side as the absolute good guys. The Iranian characters have depth, real motivations, and moments of humanity that elevate the storytelling far above your generic thriller. The series won the International Emmy for Best Drama and now spans 3 seasons, each with 8 episodes. Hugh Laurie joined the cast in Season 3, and the 4th season is already in production. If you're into espionage series with relentless tension and authentic use of Farsi and Hebrew, this one is essential viewing. Number 11. Defending Jacob. What would you do if your own son were accused of murder? Andy Barber is a respected district attorney whose life crumbles when his son Jacob, a seemingly normal teenager, becomes the prime suspect in the murder of a classmate. Chris Evans sets aside his superhero cape to deliver an intense, nuanced performance as a desperate father willing to do whatever it takes to protect his son, even as the evidence starts pointing in a devastating direction. The 8-episode series keeps you in a constant state of uncertainty, because you never quite figure out whether Jacob is innocent or guilty. Michelle Dockery as the mother adds an extra layer of anguish that makes every family scene feel like walking on broken glass. What the series does brilliantly is explore how an accusation like this doesn't just destroy the accused, it tears apart the entire family, their reputation, and every relationship they have. The ending is the kind that splits opinions, but that's exactly why it still sparks conversation to this day. Number 10. Constellation. When astronaut Joe Erickson returns to Earth after a near-fatal accident on the International Space Station, something doesn't add up. Things around her seem slightly different, as if reality shifted by a few millimeters. Her daughter looks at her strangely. Memories don't match, and she begins questioning whether she actually came back to the same world she left. Numi Rapace carries this story on her shoulders with a performance that conveys confusion, fear, and determination in equal measure. The series blends space horror with psychological thriller elements in a way that keeps you unsettled throughout the entire season. The early episodes take their time, building a dense and disturbing atmosphere, but from the midpoint on, the show accelerates with twists that rearrange everything you thought you understood. Unfortunately, Apple canceled the series after just 1 season, which is a shame because the premise had so much more to explore. Still, the 8 episodes that exist are a rock-solid experience for fans of atmospheric sci-fi and perception-bending mysteries. Number 9. Shrinking. A therapist shattered by his wife's death decides to break every rule in his profession and start telling his patients exactly what he thinks. Jimmy Laird is fed up with passively listening to other people's problems while his own life crumbles around him, so he adopts a radically honest approach that creates massive, unpredictable changes in everyone around him, including himself. Jason Segel is perfect in the role, striking a balance between comedy and pain that feels authentic in every scene. But the real surprise is Harrison Ford as Paul, Jimmy's boss, a gruff, brilliant psychiatrist dealing with his own Parkinson's diagnosis. The chemistry between them is electric. The series comes from the creators of Ted Lasso, and it shows in the way it makes you laugh and cry in the same episode without either emotion feeling forced. With 3 seasons already available and a 4th confirmed, Shrinking has established itself as one of the platform's most beloved comedies. Don't underestimate it because of its light tone. When it hits hard. Number 8. Presumed Innocent. Rusty Sabich is an assistant district attorney in Chicago whose world falls apart when his coworker and former lover turns up brutally murdered. Overnight, Rusty goes from investigating crimes to being the prime suspect in one. Jake Gyllenhaal delivers a performance loaded with ambiguity. You never quite know whether this man is a victim of circumstance or hiding something terrible behind his veneer of professional respectability. The series is based on Scott Turow's novel, and every episode is designed to leave you with more questions than answers. The courtroom scenes rank among the most authentic and tense you'll find on television, and the supporting cast, including Peter Sarsgaard as a vengeance-driven lawyer, elevates every scene. The direction maintains a deliberate pace that builds suspense without resorting to cheap tricks. Where the series truly shines is in its ability to explore how a supposedly impartial justice system can become a machine for personal destruction. It has already been renewed for a second season. Number 7. Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. After Godzilla leveled San Francisco, two half-siblings discover that their missing father has a secret connection to Monarch, the clandestine organization dedicated to studying giant creatures known as Titans. The series unfolds across two timelines, one set in 2015 after Godzilla's attack, and another in the 1950s, where we see Monarch's origins and their first encounters with these colossal monsters. Kurt Russell and his real-life son Wyatt Russell play the same character in different eras, which is a brilliant touch that adds an unexpected emotional dimension to a show about giant monsters. The action and visual effects are cinema level, with Titan sequences that rival the best of the MonsterVerse films. But what elevates this series above a simple spectacle of destruction is the human drama holding it together, with characters who have real motivations and family conflicts that genuinely sting. Season 2 is already available and keeps the quality up with new revelations about the Titans' origins. Number 6. Sugar. Los Angeles has never looked as elegant or as dangerous as it does through the eyes of John Sugar, a private investigator who takes on a missing girl case and ends up in over his head with kidnappings, family secrets, and a conspiracy that ties it all together. Colin Farrell plays Sugar with a class and magnetism reminiscent of the best classic noir detectives, but with a contemporary twist that keeps everything fresh and relevant. The show is filmed with a visual elegance that's practically an artistic statement. Every frame looks like a magazine photograph, and the soundtrack perfectly complements the atmosphere. Now, there's a plot twist that arrives in the final episodes and will radically divide opinions. Some will love it, others will hate it, but there's no denying it's bold. The sharp dialogue and references to classic cinema make every episode a treat for film lovers. It's already been renewed for a second season, so Sugar's story is just getting started. Number 5. Dark Matter. A physics professor is kidnapped by an alternate version of himself who made opposite choices in life. In one reality, Jason Dessen chose his family and gave up his scientific career. In the other, he chose science and achieved professional success, but lives emotionally empty. When the successful Jason decides to steal the family man's life, the latter must navigate a chaotic, infinite multiverse to find his way back to his wife and son. Joel Edgerton is stunning in the dual role, making each version of Jason feel like a completely different person through just subtle shifts in his performance. Each episode peels back a new layer of the multiverse and raises existential questions about the choices that define us and the paths we never took. The series is based on Blake Crouch's novel, and Crouch himself wrote the adaptation, which guarantees faithfulness to the source material. The emotional depth combined with constant action makes Dark Matter one of the best sci-fi series in recent years. It's already been renewed for a second season. Number 4. Shining Girls. Kirby Mizrachi survived a brutal attack that left her scarred for life, but now something even more disturbing is happening to her. Her reality shifts without warning. One day she's married, the next she's not. Her apartment changes locations. Her dog appears and disappears. Elizabeth Moss plays Kirby with a fierce vulnerability that forces you to follow her in her desperation to understand what's going on. When Kirby decides to investigate her own case alongside a journalist, she discovers that her attacker isn't just any serial killer. He's someone who can manipulate time and space. The series is based on Lauren Buke's novel and completely reinvents the serial killer genre by fusing it with high-concept sci-fi. Jamie Bell as the villain has a menacing presence that puts your nerves on edge every time he appears. The way the series uses reality shifts as a metaphor for trauma is brilliant, giving it a depth that most thrillers don't even attempt to reach. It's a shame it was limited to just one season, because the universe it builds was crying out for more exploration. Number 3. Servant. A Philadelphia couple hires a nanny to care for a therapy doll that replaced their deceased baby. Dorothy Turner, played by Lauren Ambrose, is so devastated by the loss that her mind has convinced her the doll is her real child. Her husband Sean, a high-end chef, maintains the charade to protect his wife's mental health. But when Leanne, the young nanny, arrives, inexplicable things start happening in the house, and suddenly, the doll doesn't seem like just a doll anymore. M. Night Shyamalan directs this series with his unmistakable stamp, claustrophobic atmospheres, unexpected twists, and a constant feeling that something terrible lurks behind every door. Across 4 seasons and 40 episodes, the series ventures deeper and deeper into supernatural territory without ever losing its emotional anchor. Compared to other shows on this list, Servant is the one that will make you the most uncomfortable while watching, and that's exactly what makes it so addictive. Nell Tiger-Free as Leanne delivers a hypnotic performance that swings between innocence and something sinister. This is auteur horror at its finest. Number 2. Drops of God. When legendary wine authority Alexandre Lager dies, he leaves behind the world's most valuable private wine collection and a sprawling Tokyo estate. But before his daughter Camille can claim her inheritance, she must compete against Issei, her father's brilliant protege, in a series of wine-related challenges that will test everything they think they know about the world of oenology. This French-Japanese series, based on the best-selling manga of the same name, is a sleek thriller that turns wine tastings into epic battles of knowledge and intuition. The dialogue flows in French, Japanese, and English, creating a multicultural experience that feels genuinely global. The series won the International Emmy for Best Drama in 2024, and rightly so. The cinematography is exquisite, the performances are magnetic, and the way it explores family secrets through wine is absolutely original. Season 2 expands the story by taking Camille and Issei around the world in search of the origin of the most extraordinary wine ever created. If you're looking for something different from everything else out there, this show is exactly that. Number 1. Pachinko. 4 generations of a Korean family fight to survive, maintain their dignity, and find their place in a world that doesn't want them. The story begins in 1915 in Korea, under brutal Japanese colonial rule, and stretches all the way to the skyscrapers of Tokyo in the 1980s. At the center of it all is Sunja, a young woman who leaves her home to start a new life in Osaka, Japan, where Korean immigrants face discrimination, poverty, and systematic violence. The series jumps between eras with a narrative fluidity that very few productions achieve, connecting the pain of the past with the scars of the present in an organic and devastating way. Kim Min-ha as young Sunja and Yoon Yoo-jung as the elderly Sunja deliver performances that leave you speechless. Every frame is a work of visual art, and the soundtrack is hypnotic. Unlike any other series on this list, Pachinko asks you to sit down, take a deep breath, and let the story wash over you at its own pace. It won the Peabody Award, the AFI Award, and a Critics' Choice Award, and with 2 seasons totaling 16 episodes, it is Apple TV Plus's most treasured gem. And that wraps up part 2 with series that are truly worth your time. Apple TV Plus keeps proving that when it bets on original, well-told stories, the results are extraordinary. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Let us know in the comments which of these shows you've already seen and which one you're starting this week. See you soon with more quality content.